Hello and welcome to the Lifecycle Institute's webinar on finding the hidden teachers in your organization. I am Tara Denton, that's me in the picture, and I'm going to take you through a few suggestions on finding and developing the hidden teachers in your workplace. The companies that will get ahead in today's economy are those whose employees can learn, change, and grow to meet the challenges of today's market and to capitalize on your people's assets. Companies need to invest in growing people's talent. Now, the hidden teachers in your company are those leaders and those subject matter and content experts that you want to be able to share their knowledge, transfer their well-earned wisdom onto others. So let's look at some statistics. According to a Training Magazine's State of the Industry report this past year, the U.S. is spending a good amount on training investments. $52 billion is actually lower than in 2008. So companies realize that training affects companies' performance. When your employees are engaged and performing at their peak, it manifests in better company returns. Here are a few more. Just take a look at those. These statistics mean that although companies still look outside of their own internal resources to train their employees, a large amount of training and learner support is done in-house. Now, if all of that instruction is done in-house, it's more important than ever to ensure that these internal trainers and coaches not only be content masters, but are also learning specialists who can facilitate the learning process for the learners in their classrooms. Now, the training measured by Training Magazine, and these statistics I'm showing you, are for formal instruction, whether it be classroom or online. But let's think about the learning for a second in your organization that is not happening inside a classroom, that is not formal training. Informal learning is learning that happens every day, and this 80% of learning happens outside the classroom. That is speaking of application and informal learning. Some people even estimate that the percentage is actually higher. Informal learning is a learning that comes when you're trying out new knowledge and skills. It's unstructured. It's sharing of information that happens by the water cooler, as that picture is showing you right there, in the company lunchroom, and in outside meetings. It's basically learning from each other. I'd like for you to take just a minute and think about the information and learning that we're exposed to daily. Think just for a second, is there anything that you've learned so far this week? Maybe something that you've learned today. I'd also like to take a moment to think about informal learning in a different way. I'm going to give all of you participants the right to annotate on the screen. What that means is that you can go up to the T icon that's on top of your computer screen and type in a text on this actual slide. I'd like for you to think about the sort of informal learning that might be happening in your company today. What kind of learning that happens every day does your company actually choose to happen informally or choose not to formally teach? I won't be able to see your text until you actually click your mouse. So I'm seeing HR orientation, I'm seeing timesheets, cross applications, absolutely, when you're trying to cross-train people. Culture, ethics, those are both tightly related, and I think one of the highest applications of informal learning is about a company's culture. Learning center administration. So there you go. Again, all of these are great examples of informal learning that the company is not bringing in an external trainer to help with these. They're actually letting the employees themselves learn from each other. So I'd like to talk now about who are the teachers in your organization. Informal teachers, this informal learning that we were just talking about, is a power that we can harness to improve our internal operations. Sometimes these hidden teachers are customer facing, a customer service representative, or a client facing software integration specialist. These people are trainers in a sense, but they may not have been formally trained on how to transfer learning to others. You'll also find informal trainers in organizations as new employee mentors. That culture, those ethics, those cross applications we were talking about earlier. You'll find them as coaches, team leads, and the like. Some other examples that I've actually mentioned in the article of people who could be hidden trainers is a work planning specialist, a software power user, to where when you install a new software system, you actually have a train-the-trainer type of program where your power users are training others on how to use the system. A business or process consultant, a legal or contracts department manager who has to explain all of these important documents that we are putting in place to protect our company, a financial or tax auditor, a top-selling product salesperson, a Six Sigma black belt that makes sure that we are getting the quality that we need from our processes and our systems. In all instances, these people's teaching and coaching skills can be developed. So since I've given you an example of a few types of hidden teachers that I've seen out there, I'd like to get a sense, and I'm going to give you privileges again to annotate. I'd like to get a sense in your organization, some of the people that are not thought of exactly as being formal trainers, but who are in a sense teaching people and sharing information with others every day. The Oldtimers, wow, that's a great one. Talk about a form of informal learning. And with our workforce shortage, we are actually facing the fact that not a lot of this knowledge is being transferred effectively. Could you imagine if the Oldtimers were actually coached in how to transfer knowledge more effectively, so that tribal knowledge can be used to benefit the entire company? Peers facing lessons learned. That's a really good one too. I like to call that let's think of it not only in terms of mistakes that happen that you're learning from, but also in terms of success. We call that the success case method, where you have had a success in an area and you're sharing that. You're sharing that with others. So there's some great examples of people who are informal teachers. I want to talk about two types in particular. I would like to talk about the leader as teacher. I'd like to talk about the SME as teacher. SME means subject matter expert. One of you might have called them the Oldtimers in the previous slide. So let's talk about leader as teacher. And because my voice is a little weak today, I had laryngitis. I'm going to let you read this quote, and then we'll talk about it in a minute. We look to leaders to monitor and determine our priorities, to model codes of conduct, give us a context and a reason why learning and changing is necessary. No one likes change. But if you're given a vision from a credible and effective leader who coaches and teaches about the why and the what's in it for me, then it becomes a condition necessary for personal and for company success. So I'd like to do a poll right now. I would like to see, in terms of your organization, how could a leader as teacher help your business or your organization at this time? The first way is can a leader navigate a large system or process change that we're going through? Could a leader as teacher work with managers to model and encourage people development, or create a vision for the future, which in these tough economic times that we're still faced with, that vision is what's going to get us through. So it looks like, as far as the results are concerned, they're still coming in. But most of, in these, I guess, just beginning results, I'm seeing that most of what people need leaders to is to work with managers that are closer to their subordinates and actually encouraging people development. I would definitely agree with you, although I do think that the other two applications of leadership as teachers is underscored in today's environment and could be used to heavily improve company results. Let's now take a quick look at the subject matter expert as a trainer. Most of our internal and external hidden trainers are experts in their field. They're valuable content resources that have made your company successful. However, when it comes to transferring that knowledge to others, they may not know how to effectively facilitate the learning process. It's the hidden teachers that have the desire to teach others that can transform the performance of others and ultimately make your company more successful. So we've talked about the leader as teacher and the subject matter expert as teacher. Now let's talk about some ways that you can bolster the strengths of these hidden teachers. The first method we'll talk about is self-study with an action plan. The second way to boost the skills of your hidden teachers is through individual coaching. Third is train the trainer classes. And fourth is a success story network. So we're going to go into each one of those in a little bit more detail. If you decide to use self-study as a method to continuously improve your subject matter experts or your SMEs into facilitators of knowledge, create an action plan so you can both monitor and capitalize on their progress. Now, this action plan is taken more seriously if it's integrated into an individual's professional goals, their yearly goals. As you're creating the plan, ask, what action will I take as a result of reading this book or of this self-study program? What results will I achieve because I took this action? How will the results impact the organization? And when will I implement this action? An important thing to remember is when you're trying out and applying new learning, the implementation question is an important one. Choose actions or behaviors that can be achieved or that can achieve results within 90 days. If you choose to implement an action or a goal and it's not achievable within 90 days, you can lose motivation and become disheartened at your goal. That's the last thing we want for someone who's trying to improve their skills just to get us better results in the company. Early success is key because it motivates the learner to continue practicing the new behavior. The second method, individual coaching, it's another method to beef up the hidden teacher skills. If you have a well-designed mentor program in your company, this is a great application for more experienced employees to coach the more novice employees. Another option is to outsource trainer coaches. For our trainer coaching program, we've defined 8 competencies that we believe encompass great facilitation. They are: prepares for training delivery, creates a positive learning climate, establishes credibility as an instructor, adapts teaching to what participants know and how they learn. A great facilitator has a focus on learning objectives. They facilitate learning by encouraging participation. They use a variety of tools and techniques to encourage that participation, and they ensure learning outcomes. Now, each competency that we have chosen to measure our facilitators with is described in specific behaviors and has a designation of basic, intermediate, or advanced level for each of these 8 competencies. And when we observe and coach facilitators, we create individual development plans based on these competencies and ensure a support structure for each defined area of development. We do this for our internal and our external clients, where we can design individual development plans and support structures inside and outside of the company to help the facilitator's development and give them a clear roadmap to meet his or her goals as a trainer. There are many organizations that offer train the trainer classes, and this is the third development path that you can take to help improve your hidden trainers. When you're investigating train the trainer classes, make sure that the learning objectives are appropriate for the results that you're trying to achieve. Some questions you can ask yourself is the course summary full of activities and action planning so learners can practice the skills they learned in class, and so that you can determine how they can readily use their new skills when they return to the job. It's all about the learning objectives and about the syllabus and how much activity and actually practice with the learning that the class that they're going to get in the classroom. Another question, does the company offer follow-on coaching to support the trainers during the critical 90 days post-training period? A train-the-trainer class can be great, but depending on the developmental needs of the participant, they may need that on-the-job follow-on coaching. It's an important question to ask whatever train-the-training provider you decide to go with. A success story network is what we were talking about earlier, peers who have learned lessons and share them with others. When you have successes, publish them. An internal newsletter is a great way to keep your internal learning community aware of what's happening with colleagues. Start a company blog and allow your learning community to post and share information. And having an internal site that allows your teachers to share resources and best practices where you can upload documents and share tools that work in practice, that work on the front lines. It also allows people with different skills and certifications to become aware of each other's talents so that they can meet internal and external client needs. An internal site is great for this resource sharing. A third way to create a network of hidden trainers and create a learning community in your company is to encourage hidden trainers to actually join external online communities like LinkedIn and related training groups. This will benefit you in that your hidden trainers can gain ideas from professionals outside the company to share and develop internally. Sometimes it's easy to get stuck in the way that we do things here. That we can forget there are many other ways to do things and other people we can learn from. Again, it's that informal learning. But this way, if you are gaining ideas and innovative tips from outside of your company, then you have a lot more to share internally with your trainers. So I'd just like to recap some things that we talked about today about the hidden teachers in your organizations, the subject matter experts, and the leaders as teachers, different ways that they can mold and shape your workforce. I challenge you to find the hidden teachers in your organization and create a development plan for them to be able to improve, whether it be self-study, finding a company or individual coaching scenarios, a train-the-trainer class, or using all the great Web 2.0 technologies that we now have available for us to create a success story network. I have a few resources to share with you guys, and then I'm going to take questions. Actually, feel free now to send in any questions that you have to add. Please feel free to send them into the chat box. I'm just looking at the chats, and I got a little distracted. Monty Ackerman was sending in some great chats that I did not see. I just want to add a couple of more hidden teachers that he mentioned: peer operators, frontline supervisors, crew leaders, operators, qualified operators. A good application for sharing the hidden teachers in informal learning is using root cause development. So I really appreciate, Monty, your contributions, and again, I'm sorry I didn't see them earlier in the presentation. Does a train-the-trainer class, this is from Angela, does a train-the-trainer class help you to develop a program specific to your company needs? That's an interesting question. It depends on the provider that you choose and the learning objectives of the Train the Trainer class. In our class, we actually, in our Train the Trainer class, we actually do get into the importance of course design and of how to design a class or a learning engagement that's going to be more effective for your organization. However, the main focus is on delivering the class itself, and normally how to take content that you already provided and deliver that more effectively. The Lifecycle Institute, though, does have custom course development services and a rapid design process. So that would be above and beyond the Train the Trainer course. That would actually be engaging our course design team on designing a class for them. I've put some upcoming events on the screen right now. If you are curious about learning about these company events, please just email education@lce.com. Sherry wants to know if the presentation is available for download. We can send that to all of the participants. We also, this webinar is being recorded, so although my voice may not have lasted the whole time, the presentation will be available to be downloaded and heard through your computer speakers. Joe Mike says, is there a way to identify people with the right temperament to lead a class? Know-it-alls don't go over well. Interesting perspective. I do think that there are characteristics of people as hidden trainers that you will see. You will see that these are the people who are more open to helping others, in the team. I'll go again to these 8 competencies. These can be learned. They can be taught. However, I do think that looking at these competencies and thinking of the people who you're choosing to train to become better trainers, a few of these things are going to become relevant. For example, what's a person's preparation style? Have you seen them work positively with others? How credible is their delivery style? How flexible have you seen the individual be when given different tasks and having to relate to other people? So, although I do not have a checklist, which is really an interesting, and now I might have to make one to answer your question, Mike. I do think that when we are trying to determine facilitators, we look at the core descriptors that are in these 8 competencies to help us decide that. So feel free to ask any more questions. If not, I'm going to have my panelists here send out the education@lce.email in the chat. So you can cut that and paste that and ask questions about our course development services, our Train the Trainer services and coaching, or our existing classroom-based and online courses. Thank you very much for your time.